Hey there, folks. Imagine this. You're driving alone on a foggy backroad in rural Pennsylvania at midnight. The kind of road where your headlights barely cut through the mist, and suddenly you hear a faint whisper from the backseat, like someone's breathing your name. But when you check the rearview mirror, there's nothing there, just darkness. Chills, right? That's the kind of story we're diving into today on true scary events that turn deadly, real horror experiences. Before we get into it, don't forget to subscribe to our channel, because we got a ton more terrifying tales coming your way. Alright, let's settle in. I'm going to tell this one like I'm sitting across from you at a campfire, because that's how these stories hit hardest. Real, raw, and straight from the gut. This happened to a guy named Mike Reynolds back in 2018 in a small town called Elmwood, Pennsylvania. Mike was your average Joe, mid-30s, worked as a mechanic at a local garage, lived in a modest ranch house on the edge of town with his wife, Sarah, and their 2 kids. Nothing fancy, just a normal life. Or so he thought. It all started innocently enough. Mike had this old habit of taking long walks after dinner to clear his head. Elmwood's the kind of place where everyone knows everyone, tree-lined streets, kids playing in yards, that small-town charm. But there's this one path he liked, leading into the woods behind his neighborhood. It was peaceful, you know, birds chirping, leaves rustling. Until one evening in early fall, when the leaves were just starting to turn. Mike was out there, maybe half a mile in, when he heard it. A soft crunch, like footsteps on dry leaves, but not his own. He stopped, listened. Nothing. Shrugged it off as a deer or something. Plenty of wildlife around. But as he kept walking, it happened again. Closer this time. He turned around, scanned the trees. The sun was dipping low, casting long shadows that stretched like fingers across the path. "Hello?" he called out, feeling a bit silly. No answer, just the wind picking up, whispering through branches. He laughed it off to Sarah when he got home. "Probably just my imagination," he said over dinner. She teased him about watching too many horror flicks. The kids, Tommy and Lily, giggled. Life went on. But the next night, same walk, same path. This time, the footsteps were clearer, not just crunching leaves, more like deliberate steps, mirroring his own. He'd stop, they'd stop. He'd speed up, they'd match pace. Mike's heart started pounding a little harder. He pulled out his phone, showing the flashlight around. Trees, bushes, nothing out of place. But the air felt thicker, heavier, like someone was watching him from just out of sight. When he got back, he didn't mention it to Sarah. Didn't want to worry her. Instead, he double-checked the locks on the doors that night, lay in bed staring at the ceiling, listening to the house settle, creaks and groans that he'd never noticed before. Normal old house stuff, right? But sleep didn't come easy. A few days passed without incident. Mike skipped the walks, stuck to jogging on the treadmill in the basement. Work was busy, fixing up cars for fall rush. He pushed it out of his mind. Then, one afternoon, he was under a truck in the garage when his boss, Old Man Harlan, mentioned something odd. Heard about the break-ins over on Maple Street? Folks saying they saw shadows lurking around backyards at night. Mike froze. Maple Street was just a block from his house. "Shadows?" he asked, trying to sound casual. Harlan nodded. "Yeah, like people watching from the trees. Cops think it's kids messing around, but who knows?" That night, Mike couldn't shake it. He sat on the porch after the kids went to bed, nursing a beer, staring into the darkening yard. The woods loomed at the edge of the property, black and silent. Sarah joined him, wrapped in a blanket. "You okay, hon? You've been quiet." He forced a smile. "Just tired." But as they talked, a chill ran down his spine. From the woods, he swore he heard a low whistle, like someone calling a dog, but muffled. He didn't sleep much that night either. Woke up around 3 a.m. to a scratching sound at the window. Not like branches, more deliberate, like nails on glass. He bolted upright, heart racing. Sarah stirred but didn't wake. Mike crept to the window, peeked through the blinds. Moonlight filtered through, illuminating the yard. Empty, but the scratching stopped the moment he looked. Morning came, and he inspected outside. No marks on the window, no footprints. Must have been a raccoon, he told himself. But doubt crept in. He started noticing little things. The way the neighbor's dog would bark hysterically at nothing in the evenings, or how the streetlights on his block seemed to flicker more than usual. A week later, things escalated. Mike had to work late. Big repair job on a semi-truck. Sarah was home with the kids. He called her on the way back. Around 10 p.m., everything good? He asked. Yeah, but the power flickered a bit earlier. Kids are asleep. Her voice sounded off, a little shaky. You sure? I'm fine, Mike. Just hurry home. He pulled into the driveway, headlights sweeping the house. Everything looked normal, but as he stepped out, he felt it, a prickling on the back of his neck, like eyes boring into him. He glanced at the woods. Was that a shape moving between the trees? Too dark to tell. Shaking it off, he went inside. Sarah was in the kitchen, looking pale. What happened? He asked. She hesitated. I thought I heard someone at the back door, knocking, softly. But when I looked, no one was there. Mike's stomach dropped. He grabbed a flashlight and checked the backyard. Nothing, but the air felt charged, oppressive. That night, they both lay awake, listening. Around midnight, the whisper started, faint at first, from downstairs, like muffled voices in conversation. Mike sat up. You hear that? Sarah nodded, eyes wide. They crept downstairs together, Mike gripping a baseball bat from the closet. The living room was empty, lit only by the glow from the streetlight outside. The whisper stopped as they entered. Maybe the TV? Sarah suggested, but it was off. They checked the windows, the doors. Locked tight, back in bed. The silence was deafening. Then, from a vent in the ceiling, a soft chuckle. Low, almost inaudible. Mike's skin crawled. The next day, he called the cops. Officer Daniels came by. A burly guy who'd grown up in Elmwood. Probably just kids pranking, or maybe an animal in the attic, he said after checking around. But we'll patrol more. Keep an eye out. Mike nodded, but it didn't help. That afternoon, he installed motion sensor lights around the house. Tested them. They worked fine. Night fell. The family ate dinner in tense silence. Kids sensed something was off, but didn't ask. Bedtime came, and Mike tucked them in, tried to act normal. Sweet dreams, he said to Lily, kissing her forehead. As he left her room, he heard a creak from the hallway. Turned, empty. Downstairs, he and Sarah watched TV, volume low. The motion lights flicked on outside. They both jumped. Mike rushed to the window. The backyard was illuminated. Empty. Wind. Sarah whispered, but there was no breeze. It happened again 10 minutes later. Lights on, then off. This time, Mike went out with a bat. Scanned the yard, heart thumping. Who's there, he yelled. Silence. But as he turned back, he saw it, a footprint in the soft dirt near the woods. Human-sized bear. He showed Sarah. We need to get out of here for a bit, she said, voice trembling. But Mike shook his head. It's our home. We'll figure out. The whispers returned that night, louder, from the walls now, like they were inside the house. Words he couldn't quite make out, but they sounded personal, like his name mixed with laughter. Sarah clung to him, tears in her eyes. What is this, Mike? Morning brought no relief. Mike skipped work, called a friend who was an electrician, checked for wiring issues. Maybe that's causing sounds. The guy came, inspected. Everything's fine. No rats in the walls either. That evening, Tommy came running downstairs. Dad, there's a man in my closet. Mike's blood ran cold. He raced up, flung open the closet. Empty. What did he look like, bud? Tommy shrugged. Just a shadow. He smiled at me. Sarah packed bags. We're staying at my sister's in Philly tonight. Mike agreed, but insisted on staying behind to handle it. She protested, but he was stubborn, kissed him goodbye as they drove off. Alone now, the house felt alive. Creaks everywhere. Mike sat in the living room, bat across his lap, phone ready to call the cops. The clock ticked. 11 p.m. Nothing. Midnight. Still quiet. He started to relax. Dozed off. Woke to a bang upstairs. Like a door slamming. He grabbed the bat, crept up the stairs. Hallway dark, but Lily's door was ajar. He pushed it open. Room empty, bed made. But on the wall, scratched in the paint, watching. Panic surged. He checked every room. Nothing. Called the cops again. Officer Daniels arrived, skeptical. Could be vandalism. You sure you didn't do this? Mike exploded. Why would I? After they left, Mike barricaded himself in the bedroom. Lay there listening. The scratching started again, this time on the door. Slow, rhythmic. He yelled, "Leave us alone." It stopped. Then a voice, clear as day from right outside. "But we're just getting started, Mike." He didn't sleep. Dawn came, gray and cold. Sarah called, "Come to Philly. This is crazy." He agreed, packed a bag. But as he headed to the car, he glanced back at the woods. A figure stood there, just at the tree line. Tall, shadowy, motionless. Watching. Mike floored it out of there, heart pounding. In Philly, at Sarah's sister's place, they felt safe. Crowded city, lights everywhere. No woods. They talked about selling the house, moving away. "It's over," Sarah said. But it wasn't. A few nights later, Mike woke to whispers again. In the apartment. Faint, but unmistakable. His name, over and over. Sarah heard it too. "How?" she whispered. They checked the place. Nothing. The next day, Tommy drew a picture at school. A stick figure in the woods. With a big smile. "The friend from home," he said. Mike researched online. Found stories from Elmwood. Old tales of watchers in the woods. People who vanished after hearing voices. Urban legends? Or real? They decided to confront it. Mike drove back alone, armed with a gun from his dad's old collection. Parked at the house. Walked into the woods. "Show yourself," he shouted. The footsteps came, circling him. Shadows danced. Then, a face emerged from the trees. Pale, smiling, eyes black as night. Not a monster, but a man. Gaunt, dirty, clothed in rags. "You've been watching me," Mike said, aiming the gun. The man laughed. "Not just you. All of you." More figures stepped out. Homeless? Squatters? But their eyes wrong. Empty. Mike fired a warning shot. They rushed him. Chaos. He fought, but there were too many. Dragged him deeper into the woods. Sarah reported him missing. Cops searched, found blood in the woods. No body. The Watchers were a cult, they said later, living in hidden camps, preying on townsfolk for years, turning scary events deadly. But Sarah swears she still hears whispers at night. Mike's voice calling her name. And sometimes in the mirror, a shadow smiles back. That's the story, folks. Real horror doesn't need ghosts. It needs a darkness in people. Sleep tight. Mike Reynolds wiped the grease from his hands on a rag, tossing it into the bin at Harlan Garage. The clock on the wall read 6:45 p.m., and the autumn sun was already dipping below the horizon in Elmwood, Pennsylvania, a town of about 5,000 souls, nestled in the rolling hills of the Appalachian foothills. Elmwood was a kind of place where time moved slow. Main Street had a diner, a hardware store, and a library that doubled as a community center. Mike had lived there his whole life, married Sarah right out of high school, and they had Tommy, 8, and Lily, 6. Life was predictable, comfortable. After dinner, Sarah's meatloaf, always a hit. He kissed her on the cheek. "Gonna take my walk, clear my head." She smiled. "Don't be too long. It's getting dark earlier." The path behind their house on Oak Lane led into Hawthorne Woods, a dense forest that bordered the town. Mike liked the solitude, the crunch of leaves underfoot, the fresh air. That night, as he ventured in, the air was crisp, carrying the scent of pine and earth. He walked about half a mile, thinking about the bills piling up, when he heard it. Crunch. Not his step. He paused, ear straining. Silence. "Deer," he muttered, continuing. But it came again. Crunch. Closer. He spun around, seeing only shadows. The sun had set and twilight enveloped the trees. His pulse quickened slightly, but he laughed it off. "Getting paranoid in my old age." Back home, over coffee, he told Sarah, "Thought I heard something in the woods." She raised an eyebrow. Like what? Footsteps. Probably an animal. They chuckled, and the evening wound down with TV in bed. The next day at work, Mike fixed a Ford pickup, his mind wandering back to the walk. Harlan, his boss, a grizzled 60-year-old with beard like Santa's, chatted about the weather. Storm coming in this weekend. Better batten down. That evening, Mike couldn't resist the walk. The path called to him. This time, the footsteps were unmistakable. Step for step, echoing his. He stopped, they stopped. Who's there? No answer. He pulled out his phone, flashlight beam piercing the gloom. Trees swayed gently, but no movement. The air felt colder, a shiver running down his spine. He hurried home, breath short. Didn't tell Sarah. Instead, he checked the doors, windows. Lay in bed, listening to the house. A creak from the floorboards downstairs. Old house, he thought, but sleep evaded him. The following days, he skipped the walks, focused on family, took the kids to the park, where Tommy played soccer and Lily swung on the swings. But even there, he felt watched, a prickle on his neck. At dinner one night, Sarah noticed, "You seem distracted." "Just work stress," he lied. That night, the scratching at the window began. He checked, nothing, but the sound lingered in his mind.